Well, good morning and welcome back. I'm joined by Dr. Blair Davison for another edition of Morning Rounds. Thanks for waking up with us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Today we're talking about good food versus bad food.
Right.
I mean, can we just have both?
Well, the take-home message is there is no bad food.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
So this dichotomy of good versus bad food is artificial and actually probably not that helpful, because whenever something is perceived as bad or forbidden, it becomes a little bit more tempting, right?
Right, yeah.
Plus, so much of what is hard for people who are trying to be more healthy is feeling that it's an impossible task and I'm never going to be hitting that mark, and so why bother? So, I think that all things in moderation. I mean, there's no food equivalent of heroin, so it's not, even if you have the occasional ding dong
Right.
or, soda, you're going to be okay. It's moderation.
And making healthier choices if you decide to make that ding-dong choice.
Exactly. Don't do that every day. But the nice thing about thinking about how to eat more healthfully is that you're doing things that are not only good for you but good for the planet. Because one of the things about eating food that's good for your health is that it's typically good for the planet in that a lot of processed foods involve a lot of things that are not good for the environment. And so you want to think about, this is time consuming, but things from scratch are generally, you're going to be eating a little bit cleaner food. And that's also something you should toss out, the idea of eating clean.
Oh.
Because again, it sets this unrealistic expectation, but it's really about try and eliminate how many wrappers you have to go through to get to your food.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, so the more things you have to unbox, unwrap, unzip, probably the less often you should be eating that.
It's pretty easy to get into an ice cream container.
It is, and ice cream is not necessarily bad. It's, but again, it's that all things in moderation and trying to really, soup is a great food and healthy and can be really nutritious, but a soup that you make from your own ingredients is going to have a lot less of those things that you don't need than a soup you get out of a can.
Right. So what are some tips then as far as kind of trying to keep it healthy and still being able to satisfy that craving?
Exactly. So definitely the wrapper trick is a good one, and that's a good one for helping children to understand. The other thing is to try and do a little meal planning, because when we get hungry, when you're hungry, lots of things that you wouldn't normally eat, you suddenly decide look delicious. Yeah. So trying to do a little planning, and then also really, if there is something that you just love that is not maybe the most healthful thing, let yourself have a little of it every so often, because then it's not
so deprived, right?
Yeah, you're not so deprived, and you're not liable to make a bad choice.
All right, well, thank you for some of those tips this morning. If you have any questions you'd like answered, send us an email, morningrounds@kpax.com.